It is 5 o'clock on Saturday, the 15th of July, which also means it's beer o'clock because 5 o'clock Saturdays heralds the start of Alan's beer o'clock. And as usual, he's given me a nice, generous serving today of some yummy beer to try. So this evening, I thought I would make a potato crusted quiche, which I know I've showed you several times using my micro grill. But today I decided I'm going to make it in my stack cooker because when I first joined Tupperware many years ago now, actually celebrating 16 years this month. So next month I'll be in my 17th year as Tupperware. When I first joined Tupperware, we didn't have a stack cooker. What we had was, I can't even remember what it was called now. It was a steamer. That's it. We had a steamer when I was first at Tupperware. And that is where I first learned to make potato crusted quiche. And so now I know that the philosophy behind that steamer allows me to use my stack cooker to make the same recipe. So that is what I'm going to do. Hello, Ingrid. Hi, Tammy. Good to see you both this afternoon. So I've had a fantastic day. This morning at 9 o'clock, we started the CAT seminar, and CATS stands for Confidence, Attitude, Trust, and Success. And we had 4 amazing speakers who are directors at Tupperware with me at Les Diamants come and train us on those things. And they were all fabulous, and it was a fantastic day. So I feel very privileged that I belong to an organization that is concerned with continually training people to be better versions of themselves. And yes, we had to pay money to this conference, but $40. If you go to a conference, a 6-hour conference that's organized anywhere else in Canada, I guarantee you it's going to cost you $500 and upwards. So that was a really good day. Hello, Michelle and Wendy and Sharon. So good to see you this afternoon. Okay, let me put my jar out so that we have that ready for when you add extra comments. So to make my potato crusted quiche, the first thing I'm going to do is use my mandolin. And I don't have to worry about the thickness of the potatoes when I'm making a potato crusted quiche because they're basically going to be layered underneath the egg part of the quiche. So I'm using my mandolin, which has my safety V here. So while ever my mandolin's in storage, I always make sure my platform here is higher than my blade, so there's no chance of me ever cutting myself. But I'm going to set it to number 4, which is my usual thickness when I'm cutting potatoes. So I do have a sweet, or a bit of a sweet potato, because I used this earlier this week and I put it in my fridge to keep to use later on. So let's see if we can cut the sweet potato first. So I'm going to put my just make sure I don't drop the eggs on the floor. I'm going to put my chopping board here and let's see if we can, yeah. So at this thickness, it's actually quite easy to cut my sweet potato. If you get it a bit thicker, it's a little harder. But when it's nice at number 4, cutting a sweet potato is actually not too bad. Okay, so I've really reached the end. My potato has just got stuck on the edge here, which is the only reason that it's not descending anymore. But I have some nice thinnish pieces, a nice big whack, And I'm sure you'll all agree that cutting sweet potato is not the easiest thing. So hang on, I'm just going to try and, there we go, get the rest of that off. So you can see I've got a little bit of a chunk there. So I am going to try and cut some pieces. So one of the things that I tell people all the time when you're using the mandolin is, and you can see how hard it is now to cut this. Put that there for a second, to try and cut my sweet potato. I don't think I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to have to cut some little pieces like this on the side, because to cut the whole big potato, it's going to be too hard, because you can't hold it in position, but I don't want to waste it. Okay, I can get one more piece, I think. Okay, so I've got my sweet potato there, and now what I'm going to do is cut some actual potatoes, and they are super easy to cut with your mandolin. So I have my mandolin set on number 4 setting, and you'll see just how easy it is for me to quickly cut a whole potato. Look at that. How quick was that? So I've got that, and I'm going to do one more relatively small potato. Actually, it's more of a medium size. And I'm going to cut that one down quickly as well. And what that does is give me nice, even potatoes. So I'm going to move this out of the way now. So you can see I have another really nice pile of potatoes. Okay, so sweet potatoes are so hard to cut. Yes. Hello, Sherry. Good to see you. But look at that, being able to, and these were even harder than normal because I've had them in the fridge for a few days. So I'm going to take the middle section of my stack cooker, and I'm going to layer all these potatoes in here, and then I'm going to cook. I'm actually going to cut some onion as well. We'll put some onion in here too. And actually doing this in a round dish is quite nice because they're round. So we're going to go around. I'm going to have a couple, 2 or 3 layers now of potatoes at the bottom of my stack cooker. So this is a way also that you're basically portioning, controlling yourself, not making too many, but making enough so it's good. And we're going to finish off with these last few pieces of sweet potato, so that we finish with a sweet potato layer. So there we go. So I've got my potatoes and my sweet potatoes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut up my onion. So I have one sort of medium-sized onion. You love sweet potatoes. Yeah, Sherry, it's something that I've only really started using since I came to Canada. I always said, no, I don't like sweet potato when anyone offered it to me before. But now I really like the flavor. So using my silicone spatula, and I'm going to empty out my potatoes, my onions here on top of the potatoes. There we go. So that is that. Now I'm going to season these. So I'm going to season with a little bit of salt. Hello, Lorraine. Good to see you this afternoon. So a little bit of salt. And what exactly can you use it for? Anything. Are you talking about the mandolin there, Tammy? You can use it for anything that you want to slice. I mean, I slice also cucumbers, and although they're really easy to cut, but tomatoes. If you have tomatoes and you want to slice them, and actually we did onions as well the other week, because if you're doing burgers, it's really nice to have rings of onions. So we did it for that. Okay, so I've got my salt and pepper, my layers of potatoes, some Italian seasoning, and what I am going to do is put on the top of here. I could use olive oil, but I'm going to put 2 sort of knobs of butter, I suppose you would call it. And I'm going to cook these by themselves with without anything else on the top for 5 minutes at 80% power. Now, as I was telling you, when I first joined Tupperware, the stack cooker did not exist. The very old cream one existed, but they weren't selling it anymore. You couldn't get it anymore. And they were actually in the process of updating and improving the stack cooker. So the only thing I had was this steamer. And the way the steamer worked was you cook the potatoes, you actually took the steamer bit out, you cooked the potatoes at the bottom, and then did the quiche. And I remember the first time I made it, I couldn't believe how simple it was to cook in the microwave. Not only was it simple, but it was really tasty. So I said, okay, this is something that I want to do in the future. And then when they came out with the stack cooker, it was like all my birthdays came at once, and I was able to try lots of things. Okay, so in here now, I've got a couple of pieces of pepper. I'm going to chop those up and put them aside to go on top of the onion and potato that I cooked. Actually, I don't need to put them aside, because what I'm going to do is make the egg mixture as well. Yes, so the mandolin, and what I'm going to see if I have a tomato, I might cut a tomato and I can put it on the top. So I've got my onion in there, and now I'm not my onion, my peppers. I'm going to add in 4 eggs. And you can put as many or as little eggs in here. Probably the minimum you could put would be 3 to make this, and I'm putting 4 in because this is mine and Alan's supper tonight. So by having eggs, of course, you've got your protein. What about cheese? Yes, Wendy, I'm going to put cheese in, of course. I've got my cheese ready to go, and I'm also going to put in some broccoli. So I'm just going to throw a couple of broccoli pieces in here, because it doesn't matter if they chop down, but I've got my mixture that I can just now pour on the top, and the only thing I have still to prepare is my cheese. Oh, hang on, I forgot. I'm going to put a little bit of milk in here. don't need any more salt because the cheese will give enough salt. So there we go. I've got my veggie mix with my egg and my milk, and all I'm going to have to do when the potatoes is done is pour that on the top. And I've got my cheese here. I've got a little bit of Emmental that I really want to use up. I mean, that has been in my Cheese Smart, quite long now, and it's still fine. So I'm going to just finish it off. I'm not going to use the very outside piece because it's a little bit dry. And I've got some cheddar as well. So I'm going to finish the cheddar. It's going to have a nice cheesy quiche as well. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that piece of cheese aside. So let me see if I have a tomato. And of course, I keep my tomatoes in the pantry. So yes, I have some tomatoes. Now sometimes when I leave my tomatoes in my, if I leave them on the stalks, sometimes I get like this furry mix on the stalks, but you just pull the stalks off and the tomatoes are absolutely fine. So let's test the mandolin for some tomatoes. I'm going to use the same setting, which is number 4. So I've got my, and look at that. Beautiful. I've got some, I'll just move this out of the way. Now I have some great slices of tomato. So let me just move this. Here you go, Mr. Killy. I know he loves tomato. So I've cooked my my potatoes and my onion here for 5 minutes. So my sweet potato is actually a bit hard on the top here. So I'm actually going to put it back in for another 2 minutes. It doesn't need to be completely soft, but it's still a bit too hard. So when I check the potatoes after I've cooked them for a certain time, I check to see if they're soft. Now the whole thing is going to go in the microwave for another 10 minutes. So it's still going to cook the potatoes, but I wanted to give it a chance that it's going to be perfect. So when I feel the potatoes and they feel a little bit too hard, that is why I put it back in for those other 2 minutes. So we've done with the broccoli. We've got the tomatoes ready. I'm done with the potatoes. And I have a cloth here so I can just clean up this mess. So what sort of things are you making for supper tonight? And have you ever made a quiche or a potato crusted quiche in your stack cooker if you have one? Now the reason that I'm doing a lot of stack cooker recipes, and I'm going to be doing more and more, is because at the end of this month, in fact next week, we have a Tupperware stack cooker that is coming on sample. And why is that amazing? It's amazing because it's really good value. So if you have thought that maybe you would like a really good reason to join Tupperware, when we have an excellent sample like the stack cooker, that's a really good reason to join Tupperware. I can't tell you any more details because I'll be shot. No, not really, but it's still meant to be a bit secret, but I think the word is getting out everywhere. So it is going to be a great deal, and it really is going to be a great time for anybody who wants to save time, save money, eat more healthily, and be a solution to pollution, to get their stack cooker and join Tupperware. And as I told you numerous times, I learned to cook using the stack cooker. Okay, so now we have this. Oh yes, I can just tell by looking, it's much softer. The potatoes are fine. It's just the layer of sweet potatoes on top. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the cheese first and sprinkle. I'm going to sprinkle some of the cheese, or most of the cheese, on here. Remember, I had two varieties in here, so I need to try and make sure I spread them out. And I'm going to keep a little bit for going on the top. Okay, I think that'll do. And I've got my egg mixture with my vegetables. So I'm going to put that all over. So this is good. So I've got my egg mixture with my veggies in. And just spread that out. And I'm just going to squeeze down the veggies so that they are, it's not underneath the egg. I mean, the egg is going to swell a bit, of course, while it cooks. And I'm going to now put some slices of tomato on the top. And I think you'll agree that looks pretty good, doesn't it? And the last thing is I'm just going to sprinkle the last bit of cheese on the top of here. And now I'm going to cook it, and I'm going to cook it in the microwave at 80% power for 13 minutes. Okay, so everything's going to get another really nice cook. And at the end, hopefully, we're going to have a delicious, yes, doesn't it look delicious? With the eggs and the cheese and all the veggies, and ooh, I'm looking forward to having supper now. So I'm just going to go and put this in the microwave. And it's cooking. So the stack cooker was the first cooking system you used, yes, and it really is amazing. Yes, mushrooms, if you love mushrooms, that would be a nice addition. In fact, you could put the mushrooms in the quiche, not necessarily on the top. But once you start to let your imagination go and you start to say, I'd really like to try to add this as a flavor or do this, then, you know, there are so many possibilities. And I just love experimenting with my stack cooker. It doesn't always work, but mostly it does. And if it doesn't work, I can usually adapt it to work. And I'll give you an example of that. You know, the other week I made the, I tried to make the caramel with the butter and brown sugar. And I stored it on my oat mix, and it did not work at all. I hadn't got it to be hot enough. So what I did was I'd poured it on the oat mix and tried to get it, and I even cooked it. Yes, this is what I did. This was quite a long story. I cooked it, and when I tried to take the oat squares out, they just fell apart. So I said, there wasn't enough. So what I did was I made another batch, and this time I did it on the stove top. So I got it to boiling and then cooked it for 5 minutes. I know I can do it in my microwave. I just need to be, I need to try a few and get it right. But I thought, no, I don't want to waste all these oats. So I did it on my stove top, and I put all of the crumbly oats back into a bowl and poured the stuff on. So of course now it's swamped in caramel and oats. So I got another 2 cups of oats, or a cup and a half, put them in, mix. I didn't add anything else. Put them in, mix them up, cook them, and Alan said they were the best oat squares he'd ever had. So just because something goes wrong doesn't mean that you can't rescue it. And if I was to do the recipe again, I would use more caramel and sugar, more caramel sauce than they recommended the first time, because it just wasn't enough for the quantity of oats. So hello, Cindy. It's good to see you this afternoon. Fresh chives would also be a great addition. I have fresh chives. I didn't even think of those, Sharon. So that's it from me today. I love cooking simple things, and I especially love when I can showcase my stack cooker. If you haven't joined Tupperware yet, click on the link above to enroll. It really will be worth your while. And if you like to do on-the-spot sales, I have my auction is finishing at 6 o'clock today. You can click on my VIP link, go in there, and you still have an hour to have a look at the products that are up there for sale. And of course, tomorrow I will be doing a live sale. I will put out the event for that later this evening. So thank you, everyone. I'm making you hungry. That's good, Lorraine. That's the aim. No, the aim is for you to see how much I love Tupperware. So have a great evening, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Oh, but I could do the draw. I could do the draw. I'm going to do the draw, in fact. So Wendy, we are going to do the draw for the small vent and serve round. And I think it was $5 for anybody who won. Oh, and I picked them already. Cindy McGuire. There you go. Cindy, you are the, no, it says Cindy Wagner. I'm always picking Cindy, but I can't give it to her because she's down in the US. So let me pick another person. Okay, Ingrid, it's you today. So that's really, really good. And Cindy, I wish I could spoil you. I hope one day we get to meet. So have a great time. Have a great evening. And I will see you tomorrow for live at 5. Unless you come to my live sale, which is always at 3:30 on Sunday afternoons. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.